Before Shopify, were you wondering, where are my sales at? Now you're selling with Shopify, the global commerce platform supercharging your selling. You have no problem selling online, in person, on social media, and beyond. Gary, easy on the cha-ching.
Oh, sorry, but my Shopify sales are through the roof.
Start selling with Shopify today and discover how millions of businesses around the world use Shopify to ignite their selling. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/listen. Shopify.com/listen.
The world is full of magic and wonder, if you know where to look. And I'm obsessed with looking for it. I'm Simon Sinek, and I host a podcast called A Bit of Optimism. Each week, I have a short conversation with someone who inspires me or teaches me something about life, leadership, and other curious things. I hope you'll join me on the journey. Listen to A Bit of Optimism on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hello, Malcolm Gladwell here. This year on Revisionist History, we're tackling more ambitious stories than ever. From how to fix education to what Americans get completely wrong about guns. We're debating with teenagers, handing out awards, and hunting for the perfect medical raccoon. This is, after all, a podcast about the overlooked and misunderstood. Find Revisionist History on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome to Soul Sessions, everyone. I'm Amanda Rieger Green, your host. Thank you for joining me every week. I also want to give a massive shout out to my team. I have the most amazing executive producer, sound engineer, and my assistants that work with me in soul pathology. And I tell you what, this is a labor of love. So definitely beam them some love, because together we are able to bring all of this great information to you. But one of the things that they do for me that I appreciate is that they hold space for my energy, and they help me have the clarity and the energy to share with you. And the reason I'm sharing that, happy Valentine's Day, by the way, because this is Valentine's Day. We are going to talk about love and all the highs and lows of that. That's what we're going to get into. But I love my team, and what I love about them, I love multiple things about them as individuals, but they help me feel clear. They help me feel motivated. They help me streamline. And so what I'm saying about that is I need people. We need people. We need each other. Who are your people? Let's start Valentine's Day with that. Who are your people? And your people can fit lots of molds. We've got family, we've got friends, we've got romantic partners, we've got pets. My pets are my people. Our coworkers, people can come in a lot of different forms, but who are people that you feel like yourself around? And I feel most like myself around my podcast team, because they give me the creative license to have my highs and lows and ups and downs, and they help me get back on track. And I do the same for them too. It's reciprocal. That's the thing about love. Love comes in a multitude of forms. We a lot of times default into romantic love, but y'all, love is friendship. Love is familial relationships. And you know that family relationships, it's like, I may not like you today. I love you, but I may not like you today. Love comes in layers. There's divine love when you see those repeating angel numbers that we talk about, and you're mystified and illuminated and having an aha moment. It's transcendent. There's this divine, transcendent oneness in love. There's sadness in love. I think about the death of my mother, and we just put my mom's dog, Obi, to sleep this past week, and it was like losing my mom all over again, because we're basically 1 year. It's a year to the month. And it brought everything back up. But there was this sadness combined with this deep sense of oneness and love. And to me, sometimes divine love is also heavy. It can be sad. It can feel like loss, but it can also feel expansive. So there's divine love. Then we have friendships. And I think about my friendships, and in all the various forms of friendships, we have extremely close friends. We have affiliations and associations, people we see peripherally. how do those people hold space for you? How do you hold space for them? That's the reciprocity that I'm alluding to. I have friends, and this has been really important to me over the past couple of years. My question for myself is, who are the people that help me laugh my ass off? And the reason that's been important for me is I wax toward intensity and seriousness. Everything is about, what am I learning? How is this making sense? How are we changing the cosmos? I mean, that's where I go. In my natural state, I am analyzing and diving in and wanting to expand and tap into the mysteries of consciousness. So, I mean, that's really intense, okay? And that's not sustainable. And what do I know about me? When I'm fun, I'm freaking fun. When I laugh my ass off. Like, I am funny, I'm snarky, I'm silly, I'm raunchy sometimes. Like, my friends who know. Like, in my natural state, not the intense natural state, the opposite of that, the mirror of that is me being like a kid at heart. And I have a nasty sense of humor. And when I say nasty, I'm not trying to be offensive, y'all, but I will talk about farts and just things that are raunchy and wrong. And I have my sister Ann out there. Shout out to you. I love her, and I love her because we have a wicked raunchy sense of humor and we offend our whole family. But they love that we offend them and we're just gross. Like, we're totally gross. And by the way, when I was little, I was not allowed to use the word gross. My mom was like, no, you can't. Like, I wasn't allowed to use the word suck, but that didn't come in till like, I don't know, maybe the like 2000s, that word. But gross, I was not allowed to use the word gross. And like, you know, and it's so funny because I am just gross. And my mom would be like, Amanda, that's not ladylike. That's the way. She'd be like, but by nature, I want to be a little bit rebellious and wrong and raunchy because I need to laugh. It's because I am so serious if I will take myself too seriously. And what I am getting at as it relates to love and Valentine's Day, relationships, connections, who do you get to spend time with that brings out parts of your personality that you may otherwise not make time for, or may not naturally come to you, but you know you enjoy yourself, you feel safe, you feel at home, you feel like this creative, expressive version of you that feels illuminated and lit up. That's important to notice in relationships. And again, whether it's intimate and romantic, whether it's family, friends, coworkers, who do you feel safe to be yourself with? And where can you be silly? Silliness is so important right now because the energy is, I tell you what, this 8 energy, it didn't come to play. It's not joking. And I'm feeling it every which way. And most everyone I talk to is either like in a high and like something is rocking and rolling, or it's like, well, I'm going to be destitute and nothing's coming together. Nothing's going my way. It is like 2 sides of this coin, and both of them are valuable. When you're in a high, when something clicks, being able to say, oh my gosh, I'm on the right track. Oh my gosh, I can't believe that just happened. Or, wow, okay, somebody appreciates me. Whatever it is, when you feel recognized. That's what I was alluding to there, is I feel recognized by multiple friendships, friends that can give me wise advice, relationships that can hold space for me in that way, friendships who can let me be myself, people who can make me laugh. I feel seen, I feel recognized. And can you accept that? Can you receive that? A big thing a lot of us have going on, and I work on this, or I'm very cognizant of it, is we give, we show up, we do, we give, we push, we drive. And we have a real challenge on receiving. And so one of the things that you can do is really be cognizant of your energy field, unblocking your energy. To do that, you know how I talk about grounding or clearing your energy with Epsom salt. That's a great starting place, but also imagining your aura, bringing it in, because our auras right now, and this has come up with a couple of really good clients of mine. And I said to my friend Debbie the other day, who's a great client, shout out Deb. I said, Debbie, Aura in, aura in, aura in, meaning I could feel her energy field. She gives, she does, she leads. She is so loving and creative and intelligent. I mean, she just shines, but it's like her energy field and her auric field was so far out that it was catching hitchhikers and stragglers and debris out in the energy field and EMF, whatever you want to think of, energetic vampire. She's, moths are attracted to the flame. So think about bringing your aura in and doing it regularly. And all you have to do is imagine your aura is like an egg. And this is kind of funny, y'all. Whatever color comes to you first, in your imagination, and don't take it as you're making it up. Is it gold? Is it black? Okay, if it's black, laugh, okay? If that's what you see, black, murky, gunky, brown, muddy looking stuff, don't be afraid of that. Just begin to infuse it with light. Beautiful gold, white, diamond, violet light, whatever works to transmute it. And that process, which you can do in seconds, is energetically stimulating. It's activating your imagination, your intuition, the other half of your brain. It's connecting you with your non-sensory, the tangible sensory perceptions, the abilities you have, and the imagination is important. So if your aura is dark, infuse it with light, cleanse it, clear it, bring it in, whatever feels nurturing and natural to you. It could be beautiful pink. A lot of times my go-to auric color is this gorgeous aqua. I just go to aqua very, very easily, and I can believe in the aqua. I can feel it. I know what it feels like. But first of all, notice your aura, notice what color it is, and if it needs a little spiff it up in that moment. If it's already bright, brilliant, and loving, whatever, energetic, creative, go with that, but bring it in about 6 to 8 inches around your body, like an egg shape, and just inhale and exhale, and do it literally, like inhale and exhale as you bring your aura in, but also when you inhale and exhale, almost see it synergistically, like it's pulsating, it's radiating, it's like contracting and expanding simultaneously. And yes, this will help with love. We're going to get there. I promise you. We're going to talk about love because these things are important in the energy field. And I'm noticing all of our auras just keep getting farther and farther out, and we need to bring them in. And it's not about protection. I don't love the word protection. I very rarely use it because protection invokes I need protecting from. I'm afraid of something. So I usually use the word safe. I've used the word safe for a long, long time. I am safe. I am clear. I am clean. I am in my energetic field. All aspects of me are here now. Where is your power? Now. Where is your higher power? Now. I have a really great spiritual mentor, and that's what she says is, where is God? God is now. And that's what I'm saying. Where is your power? Now. Where is your light? Now. Where is your joy? Now. Where is your pain? Now. Where is your sorrow? Now. It's about being present. And if there was ever a time to really get clear and present, even if you don't like what's coming up, because I tell you what, I don't like what's coming up for me half the time. I can have a breakthrough, amazing moment, and all this positive stuff coming at me. And then the next thing you know, I'm worried about my bank account. And then I get stuck in that. I'm like, I'm not making enough. I'm not earning enough. Oh my gosh, I'm stressed out here. It's just the human nature. And it's me going into this small ego space, this fear space. And guess what? I know that if I stay there too long, that's what's going to basically permeate my point of attraction. And that's the signal I'm sending out to the field. So that's what motivates me to clear it out fast. And if there was a word for this year, because it keeps coming up over and over and I'm practicing it myself, it's resiliency. Meaning, when I feel afraid, I'm worried I don't have, I'm afraid I don't have, I can't do, I'm not enough, I'm exhausted, all of those feelings, the world is against me, it's not fair, don't people get it, anger, any of those things, if I can notice it, become aware of it, then I can resiliently move through it, process it, acknowledge it. And the simplest way to do that is identifying your emotion. The emotional intelligence this year is important, and it's really going to be important in March. All right, buckle up. March is emotional. So get on track now with some of this stuff and get clear now, because the now, remember, that's where your power is in the now, is next month, is going to feel sloshy, and emotions are going to be important to gauge your temperature on. But for now, noticing when you feel low, or thinking low, small, little, and be able to say, what is this? What is this feeling? What am I experiencing? And am I willing to heal it? Am I willing to feel it? Am I willing to hold space for it for a few seconds to process through my body? A very simple practice that I love when I'm feeling heavy or low or angry or sad, and I'm acknowledging it and I'm willing to process it. I think doing something physical to mimic and move it through your physiology and your biology, your tangible, literal body, is a very astute practice. So what I do, whether it's anger or sadness, I will say, oh, that's sadness. And I'll feel it for a minute. I'll feel it. I'll just let myself be. So I'll close my eyes, I'll breathe, and I'll give it just a little bit of space first. And then a lot of times it's very easy, and this isn't part of the practice, to notice where you're feeling it in your body. Where is there tension? Is it in your shoulders? Is it in your jaw, your lower back? Is it in a knee, an ankle, your fingertips? See if you can notice any sensations in your body and just bring your attention there. And like we were talking about with infusing beautiful light into your auric field, do the same. Use your breath and almost send your energy like a laser beam into that space, and it's like permeating every cell in your, let's say it's your shoulder, and you've got tension in the shoulders because you're carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. Notice that and just infuse this breath of light. And I love when I'm doing healing energy that way. I do it with emerald green because that is, of course, of the heart chakra. It also resonates with Raphael, the archangel, who is the angel of healing. So it's like I'm calling in Raphael energy. I'm checking in with my heart space. It's unconditional. It's loving. It's expansive. And I'm sending it into all those little dark places that are itchy and painful and crunchy and contracted, and I just infuse it in. And then after that, here's the practice. I will literally squeeze my fist, like squeezing my fist. I'll squeeze my jaw, I'll squeeze my body, and I always say this, don't pop a blood vessel. Like squeeze, 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 and hold it for about 3 or 4 seconds, and then let it release, and you'll feel the blood rush back through your body. So I encourage you not to do this when you're driving or operating heavy machinery. This would be really great when you're sitting in a chair at home so you don't pass out. And then you repeat it 2 more times. So squeeze, 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 pull all the energy in, pull it, make it really tense, maybe even bring your shoulders up to your ears, squeeze, 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 and then release. And you can just, I'm doing it now, obviously you can tell, I feel that blood rush back through my body. And then when I do it a third time, when you do it a third time, squeeze, 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 hold, and then I release. It's like, whew, I'm kind of sweating right now. My body temperature changed. I feel lightheaded. While you do that, you can also say, and this is just an add-on, you don't have to do anything but the physical act of it and repeat it 3 times. It's very cleansing. It acknowledges the lower vibrational stagnant energy, whether it's showing up in sadness, grief, pain, irritability, self-pity, whatever it may be, self-doubt. That's a big one that's coming up, and I'm going to answer a question about that shortly. Squeeze and hold it in. You can also say things like anger, pain, fear, frustration. I'm so annoyed. This is awful. Oh, it's terrible. It's terrible. And then you release it and you let the blood run back through. And after you've done it your 3rd time and you feel totally zoned out and out of it, your energy already feels like it's in the quantum field because your body does. The blood is doing stuff. The heart's contracting, the organs, the muscles, and then blood is being filtered back into all the places you restricted it from. Your blood is really, really empowering. And by doing that, then after that, in that 3rd time, that's when you say, I am available for love. I am healing. I am open. I am clearing out any low vibrational energies and tapping into something greater, higher. Show me, help me. I'm ready. I'm open. I'm willing. I am love. I am kindness. I am beauty. I am abundance. I am success. Whatever you can use your I ams. You can ask for help. You can say, thank you, thank you, thank you. You do what comes to you. That's part of your magic. You make it practical, you make it yours, and you make it big. You make it expansive. That is a great practice to practice anytime, but right now it feels really imperative. I got a great question from a client and a listener.
What does optimism look like? I'm on a quest to find the people who inspire us to dream more and do more. I'm Simon Sinek, and I host a podcast called A Bit of Optimism. I talk to all sorts of people, from the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff to a hairdresser on Instagram who gives out free haircuts to the homeless, from the CEOs of the world's largest companies to the comedy writer who visited the wreckage of the Titanic. I love talking to leaders, artists, authors, and eccentrics about life, leadership, purpose, mental fitness, human skills, high performance, and other curious things. It leaves me feeling wiser, more inspired, and, well, more optimistic. Because after all, this is a bit of optimism. The world is full of magic and wonder, if you know where to look for it. Listen to A Bit of Optimism on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
The Black Information Network and 6-time Emmy-nominated news anchor Vanessa Tyler welcome you to Blackland.
A podcast about the ground on which the Black community stands right now.
From stories about salvation
and loss.
They did not love themselves enough to know their HIV status, to not pass it on to me.
To dreams achieved.
Or still yet unfulfilled.
From people who have made it.
We started a hospital-based violence intervention program called the Ivy Project, and it stands for Interrupting Violence in Youth and Young Adults.
To those who have been left behind.
But no one talks about the survivors of the gun violence, and the number is rising because the gun violence has risen.
Politically,
financially,
emotionally,
spiritually.
This is where we are.
This is Blackland.
And one of the things that my father said to me before he passed away is like almost like a prophecy. He said that I would be helping men.
Listen to Blackland on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts,
or wherever you get your podcasts.
Beauty Translated Season 3 is coming soon with, what? A second host? I'm Carmen Laurent, and this season I am joined full-time by world-renowned Janie Danger. Janie, what are we talking about in Season 3?
We're talking about life, Carmen. Beauty Translated is about the many fragmented lives spreading across this rich tapestry of the trans experience.
Janie, this sounds like an all-new format.
Podcasting 2 is finally here.
Thoughtful perspectives on current events.
Stunning, sexy, bold interviews with an all-star lineup of guests.
And the all-new Beauty Translated Love Line, the first ever.
Be a part of the Beauty Translated transcendental podcasting experience by calling our helpline at 678-561-2785. For any problem you may have, we will do our best to make it worse.
Listen to Beauty Translated Season 3 on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. Bye.
Bye.
I got a great question from a client and a listener, Cindy. She says, how do you find your self-worth in the journey to your goal? Brilliant question. Thank you, Cindy, because it so relates. How do you find your self-worth? Through your self-doubt. And you know, I talked about that earlier this month. And hello, I'm raising my hand. I have felt a bajillion forms of self-doubt this month. And it's that resiliency of recognizing the self-doubt. So finding your self-worth in the journey to your goal, your aim, your vision, notice the self-doubt. We sometimes notice that much easier than we do the joy or the alignment. So go with it. Okay, why can't I do this? Why don't I think I'm able to do this? But finding your self-worth relates back to two things, beliefs and values. Beliefs are a little bit easier to comprehend. Values are more hardwired. So start with your beliefs. What do I believe? What do I believe is possible? What do I believe I am capable of? Why do I believe in this goal, this aim, this vision? Why do I believe it is part of my mission, my journey? Why is it on my heart? Why do I believe it's on my heart? So start to clarify what you believe and why you believe around your goal, because the belief will help with instilling a more resilient, stronger, empowered sense of self-worth. It's all about clarification. Let me get clear on the belief around this goal. And then let's go a step deeper, which this is a little bit more challenging and layered, but get into your values. How does this goal, this aim, relate to what I value? And in order to relate it to what you value, you got to know what you value. So here's my trick on values. And values are important. The clearer you get with what you value, value relates to self-worth directly. I value myself. I am worthy. I am valuable. So if you know what you value, and then you can relate it to your aim or your goal, you're getting on track. You're clarifying and strengthening your point of attraction. And that's what we've talked about. This is a year where your point of attraction, it will shift and change and become stronger, lighter, and more vibrant. So with values, the clearest way for me to understand my values is to understand what I don't value. And usually when you interact with someone or some experience that really hacks you off, that is an indication of what you don't value in order to determine what you do. If something really fundamentally, it's not just an irritation you can let go of or accept. Like if you can't accept someone's behavior. So this is not about pointing fingers at someone else. This person is wrong. They're not right. They don't know what they're doing. This is not about judging and taking someone's inventory. And this stuff is all going to relate to March, by the way, because we're going to be in a 2 universal month, which is all about what am I learning through the other. So this is a big setup into this. But if you can recognize, okay, what about that person's behavior hacked me off to my core? Were they disrespectful? Did they blow me off? Dismissiveness? Did they make me feel small? Did they not appreciate my time? Did they act like I was stupid and not intelligent? It's really getting serious and taking the person out of the equation, because this is not about them, this is about you. It's about behaviors that clash against your energy field, are misaligned with your vibrations or your values. And so if it is, are they really insecure because they're behaving that way? Like I'm pointing a finger right now as I say that, and then you say, wait a minute, the way that they are behaving is creating insecurity in me, or they are insecure. So what do I value? I value security. What do I value? Not disrespect. I value respect. Authenticity and inauthenticity. It's like when you see someone on social media, and we've all done this, and we know that they are really struggling in life, or they have a lot of, let's say somebody's in a really dysfunctional romantic relationship, and all they post over Instagram is that they're so happy in love and life. Oh my gosh, we've all seen that. And you know what? It's not a place for us to judge them. It's a place for us to realize, oh, that's so inauthentic. Like that's not true. I value truth because that is dishonest. Or this is inauthentic. I value authenticity. So take the people out of the equation. Y'all, we all have enough on our plates. We don't need to judge anyone because we're already judging ourselves. Bring it back to your point of attraction and what is it that is clashing so you can determine the value. So Cindy, great question. How do you find self-worth in the journey to your goal? Clarifying your goal, clarifying your beliefs, clarifying your values, and then becoming very willing to look at the converse of that. So If you're clarifying your values, noticing relationships, people who show up who are not aligned with your values. And it's not about getting mad at them, but maybe you need to set a new boundary, or maybe you don't go grab coffee with them if you feel this horrible, frustrated, angry way. Every time you do, you bust up a pattern. So looking for the patterns that are misaligned with your beliefs and your values. And that will actually help you propel you forward, open new doors towards the goal, towards the aim, because you're clearing energy that is misaligned with the meaning of your goal, the meaning, your why. Why do I have this goal? Why do I feel this way? Why do I feel I'm capable? And the more you clear out where you are incapable, and that it seems to just be disjointed and get clear, it's all about clarity. So keep going. Feel the self-doubt or the disempowerment. That's a huge cornerstone that you're actually on track for the energy of the 8. But the attitude around it is, whoa, I feel disempowered. What am I going to do about that? Okay, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to identify the emotional component, the fear, the feeling, whatever resonates with you, and then I'm going to process it. And maybe you do the practice that I just suggested, clenching your fist and really engaging with an irritating low vibrational frequency, letting it physically process. It takes 18 to 21 seconds to process an emotion, a feeling or experience, and most of us bypass, we shove down, and then it blows sideways, or we deny it and then it builds residue, and then it weakens our point of attraction. Everything is about confronting what you're afraid of, where you get in your own way, and your limitations in order to experience abundance and expansion. And how does all of this relate to love and Valentine's Day? Well, we talked about lots of different forms of love. And if you listen to the podcast I did with Elizabeth, and we talked about self-love, it's a few episodes ago. We'll put a link in the description to that episode. If you missed it, please listen, because what came through on my end, but really on her end, was wise. I know I've repeated this already, but the favorite thing that came out of that energy and that expression from her is, I don't want this time to end. I'm falling in love with myself and I'm not ready for it to end. That is a magical, magical place, because it's like I am letting go of other people creating love for me. Love initiates from within. Love initiates from something higher. If I want to experience love, if I am looking for my person and I am exhausted, it makes me think of that Sex and the City episode with Charlotte when she's like, I'm just so tired. I've been doing this since I was for 20 years. I can't remember how to quote it, but she's like, when is he coming? Like, I'm so tired. And then we all know in Sex and the City, her true love showed up in the most unlikely of places, and through a divorce, and through this guy that she didn't think was attractive at first. And he ended up being the total love in her whole story through Sex and the City and whatever the next part of it. And just like that, so there's something to holding on so tightly to a very linear concept of love and saying, when I fall in love, then I'm going to be happy. When I find my person, then I'm going to be happy. Or I have this exact idea of who I want and this laundry list, and they're going to appear. Well, you're setting yourself up for failure, first of all, because you're setting all these expectations, and expectations around love really make it difficult. And is any of this stuff easy? No, it's food for thought and how it applies to you. But in my experience, when it relates to romantic love and what I've seen with so many clients, we have to get out of our own way. And we have to take the focus off of the determination to find love, because it's doing is it's perpetuating fear. And then we go into a smaller space of ego that goes into a lack consciousness of I don't have, I'm not going to have. And you keep unconsciously reinforcing, when is it coming? I'm never going to have my person. They're never really coming. But I'm very clear. I want a person who does this, who looks like this, who has this kind of job, who may or may not have children or has always been single. Like, it's really good to get clear about what you want. Do not get me wrong. I just talked about clarity. I think it is wonderful to sit down and write down the attributes of a person you are looking for. And the best way to write down attributes of a person as a romantic partner, a partner in life, that you are looking for is to look at your friendships that do work, that are healthy. Who are the relationships in your life that help you feel whole? And we're coming back to this. This is where I started, is who are the people that bring out qualities in you that help you feel safe, help you feel like yourself, abundant and light. Look at those attributes, and those are the attributes you want to attract in another. And here's the kicker to that, and here's where the work is and the dedication is. If I want a partner who is grounded and consistent, okay, I want someone who's grounded, who is a clear communicator, and they're consistent. Those are three things that a lot of us would like, and I think a lot of us can relate to. So someone who's grounded means they're present, they're available, they are giving you their attention undividedly, they're listening, they are aware, they're self-aware, so that grounded, solid, earthy energy where they are present. So presence, grounded, a clear communicator, that they say what they mean what they say, they communicate things to you, they tell you how they're feeling, so they have all those forms of healthy, mature communication, authentic, honest, straightforward communication. Because I know for me, if somebody can just shoot straight with me, I do better, right? And someone who's consistent, who shows up, who follows through, who's there, who will just be a foundational space. So guess what? If I've identified those three things, then it is imperative that I see where I am practicing those things with myself. If I want someone who is grounded, if I want to attract in a vibrational energy that matches mine, who is grounded and present, am I grounded? Am I present? Am I aware of when I'm not grounded, when I'm not present? How am I practicing that with myself? I know I can be sitting in a group or in a room and I can be listening and seemingly present, and I can be disassociated in three other places and having a whole dialogue with myself or taking people's inventory or bored or looking at my phone. That's not grounded energy. So if I am repeating that behavior, that attitude, that action, transmitting that signal over and over again, and I want to attract someone into my life who is grounded, then I'm sending the universe mixed signals. The work begins within. I have to say, wait a minute, Amanda, you're in this meeting and you're picking up your phone. Or Amanda, you're driving to the grocery store and you keep wanting to grab your phone or change the channel on the radio 10 times. Are you grounded? Are you present? So you can look at ways where your behavior is not mimicking what your goal is. This relates back to the goal, or what you're wanting in a partner. Clear communication, honest communication, healthy, mature communicator. Am I clearly communicating with myself? Is my inside voice matching my outside voice? How do I speak to myself? Am I clear, honest, and authentic? When I'm having a bad day, am I fussing at myself for having a bad day? Or am I okay to say, you know what, Amanda, you're having a rough day today. Maybe you take a couple of things off your plate. Or maybe, Amanda, you tell somebody you're having a bad day and you ask for help instead of being in your own head and trying to micromanage it. How can I practice honest, mature, clear communication with myself and with other people in my life? Goes back to the being grounded thing. When I'm having a conversation with someone, am I off in my own little world thinking about myself or waiting to respond? And I do this all the time. Like, I am totally telling on myself. No, I want to be a good listener. Being grounded means being present, being a good listener. How do I actively practice that? And the more you actively practice the things that you are looking for in love, and this isn't just about romantic love, it's about friendship or family or your coworkers, anyone in your life, your children. Like, I know the parents out there relate in learning how to communicate with their children, because children today, they face a whole multitude of things that a lot of us didn't face, and they have energies and different ways of communicating, and they are special and unique, and they have a lot of meaning and purpose that has not broken through yet. So parents learning to healthily communicate and hear and listen to their children, this is a big one, and it's a big form of love. So communication, how am I communicating with myself? And then the third one is consistency.
What does optimism look like? I'm on a quest to find the people who inspire us to dream more and do more. I'm Simon Sinek, and I host a podcast called A Bit of Optimism. I talk to all sorts of people, from the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff to a hairdresser on Instagram who gives out free haircuts to the homeless. From the CEOs of the world's largest companies to the comedy writer who visited the wreckage of the Titanic, I love talking to leaders, artists, authors, and eccentrics about life, leadership, purpose, mental fitness, human skills, high performance, and other curious things. It leaves me feeling wiser, more inspired, and, well, more optimistic. Because after all, this is a bit of optimism. The world is full of magic and wonder, if you know where to look for it. Listen to A Bit of Optimism on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Beauty Translated Season 3 is coming soon with, what? A second host? I'm Carmen Laurent, and this season I am joined full-time by world-renowned Janie Danger. Janie, what are we talking about in Season 3?
We're talking about life, Carmen. Beauty Translated is about the many fragmented lives spreading across this rich tapestry of the trans experience.
Janie, this sounds like an all-new format.
Podcasting 2 is finally here.
Thoughtful perspectives on current events.
Stunning, sexy, bold interviews with an all-star lineup of guests.
And the all-new Beauty Translated Love Line, the first ever.
Be a part of the Beauty Translated transcendental podcasting experience by calling our helpline at 678-561-2785. For any problem you may have, we will do our best to make it worse.
Listen to Beauty Translated Season 3 on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. Bye.
Bye.
The Black Information Network and 6-time Emmy-nominated news anchor Vanessa Tyler welcome you to Blackland.
A podcast about the ground on which the Black community stands right now.
From stories about salvation
and loss.
They did not love themselves enough to know their HIV status, to not pass it on to me.
To dreams achieved.
Or still yet unfulfilled.
From people who have made it.
We started a hospital-based violence intervention program called the Ivy Project, and it stands for Interrupting Violence in Youth and Young Adults.
To those who have been left behind.
But no one talks about the survivors of the gun violence, and the number is rising because the gun violence has risen.
Politically.
Financially.
Emotionally.
Spiritually.
This is where we are.
This is Blackland.
And one of the things that my father said to me before he passed away is like almost like a prophecy. He said that I would be helping men.
Listen to Blackland on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts,
or wherever you get your podcasts.
The third one is consistency, showing up consistently. And I'm just giving these as arbitrary examples because these are a lot of things that a lot of us relate to and we appreciate in healthy relationship, healthy connection that relates to love and partnership and romance as well. But consistency, am I being consistent with myself? Am I showing up on time? Am I being consistent and accountable? If I tell someone I'm going to meet them and then something comes up, am I resolutely saying, hey, I said I was going to meet you, but I've got a couple of things and I don't think I can rearrange this. Can we reschedule? Or I'm sorry to change this last minute. So if you absolutely have to change plans, being accountable, communicating well, that both of those kind of go hand in hand. But also consistency with yourself. Am I willing to be consistent in my spiritual practices, my health and wellness practices, the way that I show up in life for people? What does consistency look like for you? Maybe it's just a fitness routine. Maybe it's in the food that you eat. Maybe consistency is in making your bed and brushing your teeth. Hey, it doesn't have to be big. Find where you're inconsistent in life and pick one place you're inconsistent and start practicing consistency. That way, what you're doing is whatever vibration you are craving, and it's a multitude of vibrations, like using these examples, recognizing where you are not harnessing your point of attraction that way and practicing it, that will help. And as far as just love and romance, for anybody out there who is really struggling on partnership and love and romance, and you've been hurt or betrayed or you're jaded, like that happens. Y'all, we are human. Relationships are hard and messy and complex and layered, and they evolve. Relationships evolve. If you've been in a marriage a long time and you're like, how do I get back on the same page with my partner? This person has grown, I've grown. This person has changed, I've changed. How do we get on the same page? So whatever you're looking for in love, it starts within. And I know that's so boring and bleh. It totally does start within. And I have seen this in people and I've practiced it myself. But it's also really clearly recognizing you are worthy of receiving love. And do you remember how I talked about our aura and that we are givers and we go and we do and we show up and we do life and we give and we give, and then we have this really hard time receiving. Love is a two-way street. So you can emit love and you can send love out and you can be service-oriented and kind and sharing your heart and your soul and your talents and your time. But are you allowing people to share their time with you? Are you allowing people to support you when you're out in the world and somebody says, oh my gosh, those shoes are fabulous? Do you say, these? I got them from TJ Maxx and they were on sale. Or do you say, oh my gosh, aren't they so fabulous? I love them too. Thank you. I literally retrained myself that way around people and compliments and superficial compliments as an element of learning to receive and open up my energy field. So when somebody says, you just look so great today. And it's funny because I'm thinking to myself, oh my gosh, I've just had a terrible day, or I am exhausted, or I'm just not in the mood. And you think I look cute. And it's not about me being inauthentic. It's about me being willing to say, oh my gosh, thank you for that. And I will go a step beyond. And this is not because I don't have healthy boundaries. This is actually because I want to learn to receive as reciprocally as I give and show up. So that abundance, because it's an abundance loop. This has to do with money too, by the way. This has everything to do with finances and money. It's all interconnected. Love, money, it's all the same. It's all in like the same soup. So when somebody says, oh my gosh, you look so cute today, or you just look so light, or it's always a pleasure to see you, and I'm on the inside like, yeah, if you only knew, I will say, you know what? Like, thank you for that, because I'm having a tough day. And you just lifted up my spirit and saw something in me that I just couldn't see. I got out of the car yesterday. I was at Pilates, and this amazing woman that I've met in Pilates, and she's in her 60s, and she's just, I know she was a hot ticket when she was younger, because she's a hot ticket now, but she was a stewardess, okay, not a flight attendant. This is when like stewardesses were stewardess. She was a stewardess. She did commercials for the airline. She had go-go boots. I mean, y'all can imagine, blonde hair, cute as a bug, sexy, all the things. And this woman, she is just fun and cool and hip, and she wears the coolest sunglasses, the coolest clothes. She just lights my day. But anyway, I get out of the car. I mean, we had just put the dog to sleep. I'm like grieving, just feeling off. I'm kind of exhausted. And I get out of the car and she sees me in the parking lot and she says, there you are. I was just talking about you with one of my friends. And I was saying that this cute little girl that I have met in Pilates. And then she goes on and I just said, can I hug you right now? And she says, well, of course. And she gave me this big hug. And then she's like, can you take this necklace off of me? Because I just can't get it with my fingernails. And so like I hugged her. I took her necklace off. We chit-chatted. And then she starts pouring out some stuff that's going on in her life and some stuff in relationships and related to love and her husband of 37 years and how they're not on the same page. And do I provide sessions for couples? And I was like, I do. And let's talk about that and let me know how I can support you. That was amazing. But I'm like, she doesn't know how much she infused life into my energy field, but I let her. So opening up your receptivity, allowing people to love you and see you and recognize you and reciprocally harmonize with you is as important as clarifying and working on yourself, clarifying what do I want in love? How am I practicing it? It's also allowing people, and it can be perfect strangers. Perfect strangers a lot of times will recognize us and recognize things enough we may not be able to see in ourselves. And the question is, are you capable of receiving it? Another simple way to think about receptivity, and I share this often too, is when somebody reaches out and I have space to respond to emails, and I've got some emails to respond to today, so they're coming. But if they say, thank you so much for this, or here's what I learned, instead of just giving this blanket, oh, you're welcome, I'm so glad, because it's easy for me to say that and not really receive it. So I will literally read the email and I will sit for about 30 seconds and I will say, received. I am seen. I am appreciated. I supported someone through my gifts and my talents. I provided support. Oh, I am worthy. I am valuable. I am on track. I am recognized. I am seen. So I'm unblocking that receptivity. I am consciously receiving it. And you can go a step further because we were talking about your physical body and your energy field. You can open up the deeper cavern in your heart. You've got the green that is associated with the heart chakra. And even deeper than that is this beautiful pink, like a rose quartz crystal. So you have this emerald green, and then the inner cavern of the heart, the inner cavern of the heart chakra is delicate baby pink. It's soft and it's gentle. And so I can go into that space and I close my eyes and I breathe and I hear the words and the sentiments and the time that someone took to reach out and communicate. I want to respect that. That's also one of my values is respect. And of course, I've been disrespectful and rude or dismissive or all of those things. But disrespect, when somebody's disrespectful to someone else, somebody diminishes or is disrespecting or dismissive to me, it takes me to a small space. It hacks me off. It makes me sad. It makes me feel inferior. It questions all of my gifts and talents. I mean, I know a cornerstone for me is respect. So also when somebody reaches out to me and they say thank you, I think, wow, I want to respectfully receive what they are saying and let me breathe this and feel this. And I'll take it from the green, the gentle, gorgeous emerald green into the pink essence of my heart. So in closing and thinking about love and thinking about your self-worth, your value, whether it's in attaining your goals, achieving your goals, moving forward in your goals, if it's around love and relationships, romance, first of all, it's recognizing you are worthy. And if you can dream it, you can manifest it. And I'm not talking about pipe dreams that you don't believe in, but do you really believe you're worthy of love, sustainable partnership, someone who finishes your sentences or is there for you when you have a rough day? Lastly, in terms of love, and I think this is so valuable and important for me, I know that when it comes to love, partnership, and romance, I can have a mental connection, an emotional connection, or a physical connection, but a spiritual connection is really important for me. And it's, what do I believe? What do I know? And the other person does not have to believe what I believe or how I believe or translate it or see it through their lens the way that I do. But are they seeking? Are they searching? Are they open? Are they curious? Are they open to my beliefs? Am I open to their beliefs? So the element of a spiritual connection. Do you finish someone's sentences? Do you say, oh my gosh, I was just thinking about that? Those kind of things where you're on the same frequency and you notice that stuff together and you can laugh about it or be amazed by it. Noticing, what does a spiritual connection look like for you in romance, in love, in partnership? Do you have a spiritual connection with your coworkers? And I'm not talking about muddying boundaries and getting weird with people, but I'm going to tell you something. I was talking about my team. I was talking about the podcast team and, my executive producer and our sound engineer. I have a spiritual connection with them. We not only respect and appreciate each other and know each other's talents and where everybody can fill in the gaps and be the glue where we all are cohesively working in tandem for the same goal with the same mission. We all are open spiritually and connected and see each other in this higher vibrational light, or we help support each other when the other one is down. And there is something spiritual to this team. So where is your spirituality in your life? How does it show up in your relationships, whether they're work relationships, romantic relationships, family? You may have a family that is not open spiritually, that may have very dogmatic beliefs or is limited in their spirituality, and yours is more expansive. There might be more religious and dogmatic, and you're opening up to new truths and gifts. That's okay. We each are entitled to our own beliefs and belief systems and our own divine timing of when things happen and when we open or when we don't open. But you can still find some sort of deeper, meaningful connection in that sense. So just think about these things and how you're bringing your spirituality into love and into yourself and into all relationships, because that will help you on your path. That will help you with your empowerment this year. That will certainly help cast your fishing net a little bit wider when it comes to love. That will certainly help, because the more contracted we are, the more we limit and box ourselves in. I'm very excited to share the next couple of podcasts with you. Next week, we have a listener reading and session, and we talk a lot about love, giving and receiving, and especially around her children and holding space for children as they grow and bloom and where they are in different stages. So it relates so clearly to this. It adds in another element of really holding space for children's creative self-expression and eliminating some of the worry and the doubt and the fear within, so you can feel more free and loving and less scared and afraid or confused or in self-doubt around relationships. So next week is great. It's a session with a gal named Natalia, and I'm super excited to share that with you. And then after that, I'm just having to buckle myself up for this because I'm so excited. I've got a gentleman named Stuart Pierce, and you can Google him. You can look him up now, Stuart Pierce, or his other website is The Angels of Atlantis. And if you already know, you know. But this is a divine dream come true, and we will talk about angels, archangels. He is an emissary of light. He, to me, is this embodiment of the divine on earth. And when we're talking about love, he is this otherworldly expression of love and divinity that adds another layer into us being loving souls here to express the majestic, the mysterious, the spiritual realms. And his story and his background is incredible. Let me just drop a hint around him because you should look him up. He was Princess Diana's voice coach, very, very close to Princess Diana. If you remember her story, I mean, of course you remember her story, but you know that she didn't know how to speak publicly. She didn't know how to use her voice. Stuart held space for her to do that. That's what he does. He also did the same thing with Margaret Thatcher. He did the same thing with Marianne Williamson, lots of other people, but he also has this gift of channeling archangels, the angels of Atlantis. And I cannot wait to share his gifts, his energy, his voice, connecting with your true register, your true voice, speaking from your highest, most divine octave. That's what he's going to share with us. So stay tuned. Everybody be well. Strengthen your auric field. Pull it in. Be the embodiment of love, your beliefs and your values. Be willing to practice that, strengthen that, grow that, clarify it, heal it, and also receive. How can you practice receiving this week? In little interactions or in bigger ones? How can you stand and receive? And let me just close on this note because it's coming up and I feel like if I don't share it, I'll be leaving something behind that's important. Sometimes receiving means hearing something we don't like or we don't want to hear. Criticism, constructive criticism, and that stuff is so valuable. It's not easy and we take it personally, but when somebody tells you a hard truth, like, you know what that may be, Amanda? You may be in a lot of self-righteousness right now. When you have those people who will reflect back to you things that you may not like or love or be proud of in yourself and your actions and behaviors, can you receive that? And then can you become willing to heal it? Or if somebody's just rude in the car, let's say in traffic, somebody's just rude and flips you off or honks their horn, you don't have to take their stuff and receive that into your energy field, but can you resiliently say, oh, you know what? I didn't do anything wrong. Okay, maybe they're having a bad day, or maybe they don't know where they're going, or somebody's rude at the grocery store. Like whatever it may be, you don't have to take on and receive other people's mess, but you can notice it, not take it personally, and then if you choose to go higher, you breathe and you beam them back whatever it is they need from spirit, from source, from their higher self, from God, from their guides. Hey God, hey source, hey soul, beam them some love because it's not my responsibility to do it. I'm not going to take on their stuff, and I'm going to keep walking with my heart open and my head held high. All right, everyone, be well.
Spin your passion into a business with Shopify and break sales records with the world's best converting checkout. Let's hear that one more time. The world's best converting checkout. Shopify's legendary checkout makes it easier for customers to shop on your website, across social media, and everywhere in between. Now that's music to your ears. Any way you spin it, you can be a smash hit with Shopify. Start your $1 a month trial today at shopify.com/records.
The world is full of magic and wonder, if you know where to look. And I'm obsessed with looking for it. I'm Simon Sinek, and I host a podcast called A Bit of Optimism. Each week, I have a short conversation with someone who inspires me or teaches me something about life, leadership, and other curious things. I hope you'll join me on the journey. Listen to A Bit of Optimism on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hello, Malcolm Gladwell here. This year on Revisionist History, we're tackling more ambitious stories than ever. From how to fix education to what Americans get completely wrong about guns. We're debating with teenagers, handing out awards, and hunting for the perfect medical raccoon. This is, after all, a podcast about the overlooked and misunderstood. Find Revisionist History on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.